Okay, this is lesson 5-2, solving inequalities by multiplying and dividing. So it's very similar to what we did on Monday, the adding and subtracting, and you should have done some of this yesterday in class with Miss Buff. So this is the video to help you kind of just in case you weren't sure what to do. I've got 5-2 and 5-3 very quickly on video here for you for tomorrow as well. Okay. All right, so just to go over this, how to solve an inequality using multiplication. You think what divided by 4 is less than 5. You're going to multiply both sides, obviously, by 4. Since x is being divided by 4, you are going to multiply. Another way to look at it is this. This is like 1/4 x. So again, the reciprocal would be 4 over 1. So that's why we're multiplying both sides by 4. The 4's cancel out, leaving us with x is less than 20, because 4 times 5 is 20. So there's our solution. X is less than 20, so all values less than 20 is our solution. So an open dot at 20, shaded to the left. And check by substituting a number less than 20. Always check with 0 if that's an option. That's really easy. 0 divided by 4 is 0, and 0 is less than 5. So there we go. Okay, so for this next one, we're going to be solving an inequality with x, where it's x divided by -6 is less than 7. Okay, so we're going to multiply both sides by a -6. However, this is key. This is key. Anytime you multiply or divide, I'm going to write it up here, multiply or divide, and you may have gotten this out of the book. When you multiply or divide both sides by a negative, you reverse the inequality symbol. So since we're multiplying both sides by a negative, instead of a less than, we now have a greater than. And I will show you how it works. So simplify this. We get x is now greater than -42. So we're going to graph that, an open dot at -42, and it'll be to the right. So again, we can pick 0. So put 0 in for your x, and 0 divided by -6 is less than 7. So if we had flipped that around, we would have put a -50 in here or something, or a negative, say, 54, and -54 divided by -6 is a +9, which is not less than 7. So it's crucial that you remember to flip those signs when you multiply or divide. Only multiply or divide both sides by a negative. All right, let's move on to the last example. Oh, they're going to check. So yeah, and you should have this on your paper. Substitute in 0 for x, and we know it works. We've already talked about it. 0 is less than 7. Okay, so here's our next one. Solve an inequality using division. So this time, it's -3 times x. So we are going to divide both sides by a -3. And again, notice the symbol. It goes from greater than to less than because we are dividing both sides by a -3. And -3 divided by -3 is 1. And x is less than -8 because 24 divided by -3 is -8. So we would graph that. I thought they would have that. We would graph that with an open dot at -8 to the left. So let's check out, let's try -9 just to check for a solution. So -3 times -9 is greater than 24. We go back, always to check, go back to your original equality, or inequality, your original inequality. -3 times -9 is +27, which is greater than 24. It checks. Okay, moving on to 5-3, multi-step inequalities. All right, just like equations, except the one thing to always remember, multiplying or dividing by a negative. Multiplying or dividing both sides by a negative. So here we go. Sorry, I had the answer already down there. So we write the original inequality. Just like with equations, we need to get the 3x by itself first. So we add 7 to both sides. We do +7, +7, and we get 3x is less than 15. divide both sides by 3, and we get x is less than 5. No flipping of symbols because there's no multiplication or division by a negative. Okay, that's one multi-step. Next multi-step, just like before, we distribute the negative 0.6, so we do negative 0.6 times x, which is negative 0.6x, and then negative 0.6 times negative 5, calculators for that if you need, but a negative times a negative is a positive. Now we have a two-step inequality. Subtract 3 from both sides. Okay, this is subtraction, so do not flip the symbol because this is just subtraction. We're left with negative 0.6x is less than or equal to 12. Now we're going to divide both sides by negative 0.6. And since we're dividing by a negative, look what happens to our symbols. They are flipped from a less than or equal to a greater than or equal to. So x is greater than or equal to negative 20. And what's another option for this problem? Well, you can go ahead and divide. Since there's nothing over here besides a number, you could go ahead and divide both sides by negative 0.6, and then you could just add 5 and you'd be done. So either way would work, okay? That would be another option. And you'd flip the symbol when you divide both sides by negative 0.6. All right, multi-step equation with variables on both sides. Multi-step inequality, excuse me. First step, you could add 7 to both sides, getting our constants on one side. So we have 6x is greater than 2x plus 24. Now we need to get our x's to the same side, opposite of our constant. So we're going to subtract 2x from each side. So minus 2x minus 2x. We get 4x is greater than 24. Divide both sides by 4, x is greater than 6. It's just like equations, except for remembering to switch your symbol when you multiply or divide both sides by a negative. Okay, solutions are all real numbers greater than 6. There's your graph. Okay, we can put 10 in to check. 60 minus 7 is greater than 20 plus 17. 60 minus 7 is 53. And 53 is greater than 37, so our solution checks. Okay, example 4, solve the inequality if possible. Just like equations where we had no solution or all real numbers, or identity. So here we go, write original inequality. We're going to distribute the 7 into the parentheses. 14x plus 5 is less than 14x minus 21. We're going to subtract 14x from both sides. And look at what happens. Our variable disappears, just like in equations. And we are left with 5 is less than negative 21. Is that a true statement? Okay, that is not a true statement. So there are no solutions because 5 less than negative 21 is false. 5 is not less than negative 21. Okay, next one, same type of thing. Going to distribute. We have 12x minus 1 is greater than 6 times 2x minus 1. We end up with 12x minus 1 is greater than 12x minus 6. Subtract 12x from both sides. Okay, and we're left with negative 1 is greater than negative 6. And since negative 1 is greater than negative 6, that's true, all real numbers. So you can put any number in for x, and this will be a true statement. When there's no solution, there is no number for x that you can put in to make it a true statement. This one, any number for x will make it a true statement. All right, guided practice. You can stop the video and do your guided practice.